Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Emma's Rock Metal Managers Meetup number 2. It's really great to see so many of you here. My name is Michelle Ronquillo, and I am Emma's event manager. Just a little bit about us. Within Emma, we unite music managers organization across 13 European countries, which represent more than 2,000 managers across Europe. We've made it our mission to strengthen European managers globally through our Empower program, which encompasses education, advocacy, networking, and research. If you want to know more about us, or if you want to stay up to date with the upcoming events, make sure to visit our website, follow us on social media, join our mailing list, and also join our WhatsApp group. I will share the links in the chat in a little bit. Within the chat, there will also be the general manager's contact list where you can leave your contact details and find the details of others. Also, when you log off Zoom at the end of the session, a super brief survey will pop up. So please take a moment to fill it out, and because your feedback helps us a lot to improve our upcoming events. And before I continue to share the event agenda, I just wanted to introduce you to our brand new steering committee. So I'm just gonna let everyone say their names and where they are coming from. Emma, we'll start from you.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma. I run Westwick Management and I represent the UK managers.
Lovely. Nuria?
Yes, hello, good afternoon. This is Nuria. I'm coming from Spain. I am the CEO of a management firm called Ruby House.
Thank you. Bradley?
Hello there, my name's Brad. I live in Newcastle upon Tyne in the north of England, and like Emma, I represent the UK here in Eurovision.
Katja?
And hi, I'm Katja. I'm from Finland, Helsinki, and it's hot as hell here right now. Nice to be here.
And Urs?
Hey, I'm Urs. My company is called Umi Music, rock metal management from Germany, and I also represent EMUG, which is the German chapter in Emma.
Welcome, everyone. It's so lovely to have a full house. And I'm going to share today the agenda, and then I'm going to share Emma to introduce to our lovely speakers. So can you let me know if you see today's agenda? So today's panel will be moderated by Emma Wiggin, and we are talking about the labels landscape in 2024. We are in very good company, but I'm going to let Emma do the introductions. Over to you, Emma.
Thank you. So I'm Emma. As I said, I'm Westwick Management and I'm on the steering committee. And today we have some fantastic people that work at labels. We're going to just discuss the current label landscape. Peter, did you want to introduce yourself and just say who you work for?
Hi everyone, I'm Peter and I'm the label manager at Marshall Records, which is part of Marshall Amplification. We've been going about 7 years now. I've been there 6.5 of those, and we've had some great successes. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Riku, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Riku Pääkkönen. My current label is Ranka. My background is Spine Farm Records, which I founded 1990 and worked there for over 20 years. Now it's part of Universal.
Amazing, thank you so much. And Dennis, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, what's up? Good afternoon from Berlin. I'm Dennis. I'm working for Century Media Records, which is a part of Sony Music label group. And I am filling in on very short last-minute notice for Leo from Nuclear Blast. And excited for that.
We really appreciate you filling in. Let's just start with the biggest question. So what is the role of a label in 2024, and how do you think it's changed sort of since previous years? Riku, would you like to start with that one?
Why not? I think. Well, it's a tough question because I don't think you necessarily need a label, but I think what you need is a team. Like the team can be manager, it can be a publisher, it could be like whatever. But label is one part, and the bigger the artist gets, I think the label obviously will get more important at some point because you need all different aspects of a team. But in the beginning, the distributors can do a lot of label jobs nowadays as well. So I'm not like trying to say that you absolutely need labels every time because you necessarily don't need a label. And the whole landscape has changed a lot during last 10 years.
Thank you. Peter, what do you think about sort of the labels fitting in with the DIY landscape nowadays? How do they fit in? They still play an important role?
Yeah, I think so. The bands, as Riku said, bands can do so much themselves nowadays. So just having people that can do specific tasks is the first port of call. We often see, as I'm sure a lot of people on here, management taking up so many different types of roles. With managements are their labels, their press, their booking agents, their this, their that. So, a label's role isn't as traditional as it was. I think it does serve as a step up for a lot of artists. So, starting to work with the label at a particular point, and that may not be album one, that may be album two, or you might have found yourself in the position where you've got a couple of singles that have started taking off. Being able to scale that, I think, is a good role for a label nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think they still have a good role in the modern landscape. Dennis, what do you think makes a good record label? What should a manager be looking for in a good record label? I've given you the hard question.
I think I would pretty much follow what you guys said. I think the most important thing is what you should look in for in a label is to have a sparring partner that helps developing and executing the vision you have for your band. I think that's generally spoken the most important thing, and this is what I would, if I would sit on the other side, that's what I would try to look for. Okay, what's first of all, what's my vision? What do I need from a label? What do I want from a label? And who can give me that? Who can be my sparring partner in developing my band, my artist?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely important to like align visions with labels, and yeah, definitely work. Labels and artists definitely need to be a good fit together to make a good partnership.
Yes.
So what are labels looking for when they're looking to work with a new artist? I'll ask each of you this question because I know you all represent different labels. So Riku, again, what sort of do you look for when signing a new artist?
Well, of course, we have to see that something is happening. We have to see that there's a talent. I think that's a key component, that we see a future, and it's like, it's not just one thing. It's a package of many things, because there's so much great music these days. But then whoever is the special, who is the one that we feel that we can do a good job. And for me, like when signing a band, I will not sign a band if I don't feel that I can make them better. If I'm not able to help them, a lot of artists are asking to be signed by us, and I feel that we are asked to be like a bank. But I think if we cannot make the project better, I don't think it's worth us being in a part of that team. So, but there's many factors that we take into account, because there's quite a lot to choose from these days.
Yeah, definitely. Peter?
I think that point on can we make something better is probably the best starting block for us when we're looking at artists. For sure, music comes first always, because that's what we're all involved in, isn't it? But yeah, can we help that artist step it up or not? Because if not, then why go through all that aggro, the business affairs, all of that kind of stuff. One of the other considerations for us being a part of Marshall is obviously, how does that artist fit within our wider company? We work so closely with the amplification business, and now since last year with the headphones and speakers business that's merged with Marshall Amps. How does that artist represent that as well, and how can we get involved there? And are they a great fit? Guitar players first for us always, regardless of what type of rock an artist might play. But and also, I don't think level necessarily is that big a consideration for us in terms of, is an artist an album? Is it a development artist? Is it someone who's a bit more established? Is it, we work with Therapy, who've been around for 30 odd years. All of these things are attractive because they're all great fits for us. So yeah, many variables.
Yeah. Dennis?
I think it really depends a lot on what kind of artist are we talking about. Is this like an established artist with like a 20-year career looking for a new partner versus that's a new up-and-coming band that looks for something? So I think this is like generally spoken to totally different approaches. And we, for example, are looking for both. And then it's about, for example, for developing it. If I look at them, okay, so what's your passion? Like, how much do you really want that? And what are you able to sacrifice to get into this hard competition out there? And also what Riku said, what makes you stand out from everything that's out there? What's unique about you? And how can we get together and make this bigger? How can we team up and help you develop that? Whereas, for example, for an established artist, okay, you've been doing this for 30 years. What shall we change? What shall we maybe, is there something that we can focus on more? As a lot of these established acts are lacking a lot of in the social media game. Okay, so this is a point where we can get in and focus on developing a band into the modern age, so to say, and also focus also from the brain into different strategies of the artist, because a lot of bands and artists who've been doing this for 25-30 years might have different views on some kind of things, and that's obviously something where we see points where we can help. So yeah, I would say it really depends on what kind of artists we're talking to.
Yeah, thank you. I think you've just touched on something that I do want to talk about actually, and that's social media stats. So when looking to sign an artist, how important is social media stats when signing an artist? Do you think that's a trend that a lot of rock labels are kind of looking at now, or do you think that's past, or how do you feel like that fits in at this moment in time? Peter?
Depends on the stat that you're looking at. I think there's a lot of vanity metrics out there, and there always has been. So it depends on the stat. I would say engagement is important. Looking into an artist engagement and are they interacting with their fan base is definitely important. It just shows that there is some sort of connection there with the artist. But I think Joshua in the chat there talked about live, and that comes part of social media. If it looks like something's buzzy from the social media, okay, cool, I've got to go and see this band, see what it's all about. And if it looks like there's a genuine connection in the room, chances are that's going to grow.
Yeah, definitely. Riku?
Yeah, it's part. Of course, it affects. It maybe helps getting a deal. I would like to concentrate on the music, but if I would say that those other matters wouldn't matter, I would lie. So obviously we look at the package. If somebody's really good in building a career via social media, that gives us a big help, obviously. But of course the music comes first, because if the music doesn't work, it doesn't matter what you do elsewhere. And basically, if something is happening on a social media and then comes music, probably not something that we would be interested in. But it's part of nowadays. Artists need to do a lot of stuff that was not needed in the 90s. You just could concentrate in touring and making an album. But now you have to be good in many other aspects of the business as well, if you want to make a career and build your artistry. So it is of course important. I personally hate TikTok, but of course, if you are big there, it helps you a lot, because that gives you a huge amount of streams and help you in other places. But I hope that soon there will be a time that it will be not quite that important, that it will come back to the actual talent.
Yeah, well, that's kind of my next question is, do you think that music is the most critical part of signing an artist nowadays, or does it have to be the extended business behind them in the social media and everything else that you've all touched upon? Dennis?
Yeah, absolutely. I think and I think we're seeing this shift, especially in the last 6 to 12 months right now, where the TikTok game is so over exaggerated that everybody needs to focus also, like, not just in the rock and metal business, but also in the mainstream business, focus on the quality of music again, rather than just virality. It's cool to go viral on TikTok, but if your song is shit, no, it won't transfer into streaming because people won't listen to it. I think and everybody and this changes what I think is currently happening in the mindsets, that people are focusing again now more on the quality of music again, rather than just on virality. And I think that's a very important fact. Yeah. But still, it's a very helpful tool that has helped a lot of artists to really break, and also to help. I wouldn't say base their careers on that, because I think that's a very dangerous thing to be in. If you see like 17-year-old kids going viral with a song on TikTok, getting signed for a shitload of money, second song is not going viral, third song not again, and then they're dropped before they're 18. So I think that's a very dangerous business to be in, but I think this is something where the whole industry is changing and rethinking a lot these days.
Well, I think it also kind of comes back to the fact that the role again that labels kind of play is, like, many years ago their role was kind of to help with that side of things and kind of help with the sort of artist development side. Obviously there was a lot more to it, but you know, the social media side of it, I feel like the label can add to an artist's development, especially as a lot of them have got social media teams behind them that can sort of advise on that. So talking of emerging talent, how early in the career do you think artists should be approaching labels, or are labels looking for artists? Is there space for emerging, like really new emerging talent to come through labels nowadays? Riku?
That's a tough question. I say to very often the artists that approaches us that don't spend too much time trying to find a label that don't want you. Actually, it's like, be there, do your stuff, and let yourself be found, because we are doing homework every day. We are looking for what's going on, what's happening. We go through the playlists and try to. We are really willing to find a new artist. But to be honest, amount of submissions that we get, like there's quite a lot of stuff that is not very interesting. So even through Spinefarm, I always said we had the piles of demos back in the day, and we basically found nothing. But then we did find Nightwish. So you never know. Sometimes you might find something really important from those piles as well. But it's a tough work going through everything. So most of the bands during my career, we have found other ways. We have had the tips, or we have seen such by accident seeing them live or whatever. So like, we are trying to find artists all the time, and I think for artists it is way better position to be when a label approaches you rather than the other way around.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. Peter, again, the second part to that question as well. So what's your view on sort of signing and working with very early emerging talent? And secondly, how do you find that emerging talent, or again, does it all?
We've worked with a couple of very early doors artists, quite a few actually. I think it's part of what the company wanted to do when they decided to set the label up. Definitely comes the way that Riku's saying about, you know, we approached them because we saw some of them live, some of them were working with, I think, had seen some bands or had heard about them. If something feels, when you're in the room, if something feels right, it feels right. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, that song's great. Like this band have a lot of potential. So working with the emerging artists is it's amazing because you get to really assist them through that journey. I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Dennis, do you have any thoughts on those two questions?
Yeah, I think it really helps if you're just starting out, just find yourself and try to go as big as possible and to have a foundation before you start looking into label partners. Like if there is something, and like if I get submissions and it's like, yeah, it's cool, but like the band whatever's been around for a couple of years, and there's like for 5 years nothing really has happened, and now they've made an album, and do you want to release it? I'm like, yeah, it sounds cool, but I don't know, like, what's the plan? What's the foundation? Where can we start building it? And I think it really helps if you have a little backbone before you start reaching out to labels, just for the simple reason also to make it more interesting to them.
Yeah, thank you. That's some great points. So obviously this call is for managers. So I think the big question would be, what can a manager be doing more of or is essential to get an artist noticed by a rock label nowadays? And how would they go about getting noticed or pitching or something like that? Riku?
Well, from manager, we want to hear from, because then we know that when I think about assigning an artist, like if we need like a certain part for the team, and if the manager is there already, so that's one part of the puzzle is then already done. So it's basically if we get submissions, we obviously take them way more seriously if they come from a source like managers, or publisher, whoever. It's totally different than coming straight from an artist, because we take it way more seriously, because then we don't need to start finding those people for the team.
Would you say that part of the team is important to that then? Like, would you be looking for artists with agents?
Essential. It is essential. We cannot do anything on our own for long. We can do it for a while. We can do it for a year, maybe 2 years, maybe one album, but no artist will grow their fan base if there isn't all the time. We need agents. We need publicists. We need all people to help in the process. So manager's role is nowadays such an important part of that side.
Yeah, thank you. Peter?
I would say focus on fans. By that, I don't necessarily mean like fans of the band's music from a consumer base, but that is important. But also, fans of the industry. Like maybe there is a publicist that takes an early interest and is actually with that band before they get to a label, because managers are able to do so much now. But I would, if I were a manager, thinking, right, I want to get my artist signed to a label in X amount of time, I would focus on cultivating a fan base, because that might look attractive to a label to go, well, there's real engagement there. They've got X amount of mailing list subscribers. Their tour has just sold out this many people. They've played abroad, I mean, it's more difficult now because of Brexit, but it used to amaze me that it's like, why not put your money together and go to Paris or go to West Germany or somewhere like that is drivable from the UK on a budget, and just go and play. Developing that is super important, because it still amazes me now the amount of how far bands get without ever having a mailing list or being or interacting with their fans on a way that it's never had a piece of merch or something like that. It's like, well, how are we supposed to sell records? And that is, in reality, that's what we need for our incomes, right? It helps way more than streaming does. So we want to sell actual records and merch and stuff. So really focus on that and to help your artists become a business. I think is probably the best thing. It is, it's like they are a business. I know it's corny to say, but help them become a good business, and I think they'll already be at a better level than most other artists.
Yeah, definitely. Dennis?
Yeah, I would say to get for a manager to get it out there to labels, I think it really helps in telling a story around the artist, to also make labels interested in it, rather than hey, there's a new album from this band, do you want to release it? That's like, no. Why should we? I mean, you have to convince the fan as well to check out your music. So I think you also should try to somehow convince a label in telling a story and telling, okay, this is what we've done so far. We've been active on socials and DSPs for 2 years. We've gained X amount of streams. We gained X amount of followers on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. We played shows with this band. We've did a couple of festivals. And hey, we got this lined up. Come out, see the show. Let's talk.
Yeah.
That's way more interesting than, hey, here's the album. Maybe you want to release it. That's like, yeah. No.
Okay, well, I mean, everyone's sort of, well, a lot of people's aim is to get on a label, but some people don't really know what happens after that, which is, what is the next step when a band signs to a label? What are the very early days like? What does a manager have to do in the very early days of sort of signing with a label? So obviously, I assume that's when all the hard work kind of begins then. Peter?
Administration, I suppose, is probably a big part of it, and making sure everything's in order, and just trying to be the best conduit between the artist and the label as possible. I don't know about you guys, but we want to keep conversations super positive with the artist, right? And then we can, lean on management a bit to maybe have some of the harder words, because no one wants any friction between a label and an artist. And so I think, just turning everything up and making sure that, okay, cool, well, I've got this now. How can I now leverage this new addition to our team to everything else? You don't have an agent? Well, I'm going to go around all the agents and remind them that we're now signed on this. This is the release plan, blah, 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 blah. And also, I think, like, really get into the nuts and bolts of the label that you're going to work with. Ask about distribution, ask about the budgets, and be a part of the solution to make the best, so to make your artist release the best it can possibly be. No one wants to take the mick. No one wants an artist that doesn't do anything. So just be the best you possibly can be. And I think the label, we always try to be the best we possibly can be. We always try to go the extra mile, right? So if everyone's doing that, then things look good.
Yeah. Dennis?
I think it's important to then really understand the label as your sparring partner. I think there's managements out there who then try to increase pressure towards the label to come up with super fast results. Now we're signed. Where's the 15 playlists? Where's the Kerrang cover? Where's the I think that's also a lot of expectation management towards the band, and to be like right in the middle and balance stuff out and really manage expectations, especially if you're a younger band that has just started. And like if you go in and we're signed to Century Media now, and now like with the next 2 single releases we can headline the biggest festivals. I think that's very important when you then after the signing start working with the label.
Amazing, thank you. I think we've only got time for one more question, so I'll go to Riku on this one. Do you see any changes coming into the rock and metal label landscape that you think managers need to be aware of or need to start changing their business plans towards?
Not really. I don't think it's it's all about interesting new talent, interesting music, interesting new stuff. So it's like basically 99 distribution channels has changed during the years, but the basic thing is always the same. It's to create interesting content, interesting music that people want to listen to. So that's the main thing is always the same. And I think I'm hearing all around talk about artificial intelligence, and I think at the end of the day that could be a disruption for a while. Even for rock genre, but at the end of the day, great talent will prevail. So it's like that's the whole thing, and the most important. For the previous question, like I think for us, like when we sign a new artist, first 3 to 6 months is basically to concentrate and getting the music done. Like there's not much else happening in the first 6 months, because there's no point to think about like big plans before we have the music in place.
Yeah.
So it takes time, and we have to be patient. Artists have to be patient as well. Our managers hopefully are patient, I think, but especially sometimes with the artist, we might have a problem because this sometimes it takes time. Things don't happen overnight these days.
Yeah, thank you. Do any of you have any final kind of advice that you'd like to give our managers on this call, or any final thoughts? Dennis?
Final thought, I don't know.
It's okay if you don't.
It went so fast.
I think we're going to go to question and answers. Peter, any final thoughts from you, or
Just be nice, be professional, because that's all we want to be.
And Riku?
Yeah, I think that was pretty important, because nobody wants to work with assholes these days. So.
Won't get signed.
Yeah, that's what I say to all the bands that I have when they do like tours, or like I try to say that be nice to everybody, because like that's the only ways that you will have a second chance as well. So until you are really popular, then you can maybe behave a bit more badly. But in the beginning, you have to be really, really nice to everybody, because there is somebody else also knocking on the door.
I think that's brilliant advice to end on. Should we go to some question and answers then? Michelle, is there anything in the chat?
Yes, we have a question from Katja. Do you try to sign bands that are already on another label? Who would like to take this question?
Can you repeat it?
Yes, do you try to sign bands that are already on another label?
Yes, of course.
Would you like to explain a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, if there's well-established artists from different labels that are coming to the end of their deals, obviously we're very much interested in talking to them and see like, especially if artists you've been following for a long time, also as a fan or something, become available, you might have a good idea of what's been missing over the last album campaigns and how we can help them. There's a bunch of bands we signed from other labels that are well established that I've been following for many years, for example, where I can clearly see, okay, wow, I mean, they never did this and that. So yeah, if we start working on these kind of things, I think we can make it even more successful and develop it further. Yeah. So yes, we definitely sign bands from other labels.
I think I saw a question from Steph as well pop up that how important are demos nowadays in submitting to labels?
I would say
Peter?
very important. I'd say very important, to be honest. Like, yes, you can judge an artist based on what they have released before, or maybe you can see them live play some unrecorded, unreleased music. But you have to hear that. I think you have to hear what they're proposing. You work together on. I can't say we've ever signed an artist that we don't know that we wouldn't know what it is we're proposing to release.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Just to add something here, sometimes like you get a lot of emails, you're just missing out on stuff. And sometimes if you have your first email where you're just checking out for interest without a demo, sharing the demos, whatever, 2 or 3 weeks later, it's like, hey, have you seen this? By the way, here's 2 or 3 new demo songs. That's always that, like, I have this a lot of times where it's like just the inbox is like full like crazy and you don't have the time. I wish I would have the time to sit down and listen to music all day, but the reality is that we're all locked in meetings and Zoom calls every day. I think this could also be a nice reminder, second approach, like, hey, did you see that email? By the way, we've just finished 2 new demos. Feel free to check it out. Yeah.
Actually, that's
also,
the question I've got is who would be the
can I
best? Sorry, Riku.
Can I say that's shortly, like, of course, like what demo means. Like, I sometimes bands, they might have something on YouTube already or something like. We don't necessarily need that, like a new stuff, like, but we need to some as high quality music as possible. But it doesn't have to be like a recording of future stuff. At that, we might be interested on something that has been out already, but that's basically obvious. I don't see much people approaching us when they only have a plan to make a music and they don't have any music. And demos nowadays are pretty high quality as well. So they are not what they used to be in the 90s. So it has to be rather good, because also it's very competitive. So somebody else is delivering really, really good stuff. So it has to be rather well produced music already in the beginning.
Mm. So quick follow-on question. Who would be the best person to email at a label to get your music noticed? Because obviously
on the
you've got
label, right?
A&Rs, you've got manager, like heads of labels, or would it be all of the above, depending on, the label?
Depends on the label. Also, if you have a personal connection with someone at the label, like that's the best place to send it, isn't it? If you happen to know the publicist or the mailroom person, not mailroom person, I don't know if that exists anymore at big record labels, but you know, like if you happen to know someone, then, and sometimes it's even like it comes in via another person that you're working with. Okay, well, I happen to know that manager who's working really closely with that label. I'm going to ask them if they can pass my stuff on, perhaps.
Yeah, cool.
I would fully
Shortly on that, like, don't send to somebody who have you not like been searching. Try to find who is the person. That could be like that shouldn't be like necessarily like A&R. That could be just like you find within the label, you find somebody who will be a fan of yours, and that person will do the job for you. Or find a way, like what I hate when I see like emails which I know that they've been sent to like 100 people, and sometimes those bands even don't hide those other people, so I can see even who else they are sending it to. So I think the key is to find like who will be your biggest fan, and that not necessarily is an A&R. That could be anybody, because like when at Spinefarm, when we have a bunch of people, those tips came from all different kind of sources, because all people working at the label were music fans.
I think we're getting a lot of questions in on social stats. Would you sign an artist if they don't have any social numbers at all, say for like a heritage artist or a really brand new artist that just doesn't sort of use social media but has really, really great music?
Yeah, we would definitely sign artists that have great music without big following on social media, of course. Yeah, that's not a deal breaker. Yeah.
I think coming back to the point I made earlier about engagement, it's like if you've only got 40, if you had 40 followers on your Instagram, but all 40 people are liking, commenting on the post, then that's really high engagement, right? 40 maybe is a bit low, I don't know, but yeah, I agree that it's not put off to see no engagement. It just means that's another thing that we can step in and help with. Like, you know, if you look at the menu of things that a record label does, not every artist needs every single thing, you know, assistance with every single thing nowadays.
But I have to jump in and say, if the band is already out there, like, I mean, sometimes you get stuff where it's like nothing has released, the band doesn't exist, there's no DSP profile, there's no Instagram, whatever. But if the band exists, they should at least have an okay looking social media. Like if the band exists and there's like really shitty posts up there. There's no bio, there's no nothing, there's no Spotify connected with your Instagram, Wikipedia, whatever. That's like the basics. And I would expect any kind of basics to be fulfilled if there is stuff out there. Obviously, if it's a new band, there's no social media, whatever. That's absolutely no problem.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're going to have to go to breakout rooms now. But if you guys are willing to stick around, we'd love to have you for, I'm sure people have got a few more questions for you guys.
Yeah.
Lovely. Let me just, I'm just going to bring Jess up. I can't add you on the spotlight, but first, thank you so much, Peter, Dennis, Riku, and Emma. That was wonderful and very insightful.